Dear students, today we will discuss about solenoid. It's the second part of magnetism. In earlier magnet chapter, we learnt about magnet and how the units are, and what is magnetic flux, what is magnetic intensity of magnet, everything we discussed. Now solenoid part, in this part, actually we are using magnetic for many purpose, out of which the solenoid is one. Now solenoids today, it is very important in our whole mechanical field. Easily to make you to understand what is solenoid, the definition I gave there. A solenoid is a type of electromagnet, the purpose of which is to generate a controlled magnetic field through a coil wound into a tightly packed helix. It is controlled magnetic field. Controlled magnetic field means that field is created for certain purpose. If you don't understand, I will explain in other words. For example, today's life, we know that when the current failure takes place in a flat, the watchman need not run to the generator room. Immediately, when the power goes off, automatically the generator gets switched on without any delay. Now, who switched it on? And when the power comes back, immediately the generator gets off. Otherwise, to start a generator, you have to take the arm and you have to rotate the flywheel, and then you have to give the jerk in the governor. Then only the generator starts. To switch off again, you have to press the governor back so that the fuel supply is reduced. Then after that, slowly generator will stop. Now, without the manual presence, it gets switched on. Without the manual present, it gets switched off. Now, this is controlled by solenoid. In the sense, there will be a battery and there will be a solenoid coil. Now, this coil, when the current goes off, immediately from the battery current comes to the solenoid. Now, solenoid will activate, it will switch on generator. It will switch on the generator. When the power comes, the generator will run for quite some time. When the power comes back, electrical current will come to the coil again. Electromagnetism will be developed. It will pull the governor back. By the electromagnetism, it will pull the governor. So automatically fuel supply is closed down. Slowly generator will stop. Now this is how. Now how much it has to the magnetic field. You know that when the electromagnetism, it will pull the governor back. Now how much to pull the governor back, how much magnetic flux has to be produced, it will be calculated in the solenoid calculation. Number of turns of the coil will be decided, and depending upon that, when the current is passed through it, it will produce a magnetic field. The magnetic field will pull the governor. Now this is most popularly used everywhere in the industrial application, called solenoid valves. See, valves has to be opened and closed in a position exactly when and when. So all these things can be controlled by solenoid. Now that is why solenoid, by the help of electromagnet. Now solenoid definitely by the electric power. When the electric current passes through the coil, it produces an electromagnet. Electromagnet will do the function what is needed for us in the machinery or in the system. Now that is called as the electromagnet, which is doing the work, is called solenoid. Is it clear? When you move forward in the same chapter, you will find out another term called magnetomotive force. Magnetomotive force by the magnet. That is what I give the definition there. You read, as electric current is the result of an electromotive force acting upon an electric circuit. A magnetic flux is the result of magnetomotive force acting on a magnetic circuit. A magnetic flux is the result of a magnetomotive force. Now, when the electric current will produce EMF, electromotive force acting upon an electric circuit. And magnetic flux is the result of electromagnetic motive force. Now magnetomotive force means EMF is an effect of electric current which produces a magnetic motive force. A magnetic flux is created by the electric current. A magnetic flux, that is called electromagnet. Now electromagnet, when it is created, there is a flux. That flux is called as magnetomotive force, MMF. It's called as MMF. Given there, MMF can be calculated by the formula called NI, where N is equal to number of turns, current is equal to I is equal to current. Then what is the unit of that? The unit of that is ampere turn. What is it called? Ampere turn, AT. It's called as AT. It's an SI unit. System internationally used unit. It's called ampere turn. Next comes reluctance. The word reluctance. What do you mean reluctance? The magnetic reluctance or the magnetic resistance is a concept used in the analysis of magnetic circuits. It is defined as the ratio of magnetomotive force, that means MMF, on the magnetic to the magnetic flux, and depend upon the geometry and composition of the material. Now reluctance is actually it is depending upon two things. One is geometry, size of the metal, and other thing is composition of the object, by which material. Depending upon that, reluctance means magnetic resistance. It is a magnetic resistance or magnetic resistance we call. Ohm's law for magnetic circuit states that the flux produced by a magnetic circuit is directly proportional to the magnetomotive force and inversely proportional to the reluctance. Reluctance is represented by Rm. I have written in the notes, just see that. Next comes field intensity. That means capacity of the field created by the electromagnet, which is represented by a letter H. It says, if the coil with a certain number of turns is stretched to twice of its original length, as shown in figure number 7a and 7b, the intensity of the magnetic field, that is, the concentration of the line of force, will become 1/2. When it is increased, the intensity reduces. They say that when the coil length increases, the intensity level comes down. When it is too closely wound, the intensity will be more. When it is increased in length, the intensity will be less. That's what it says. Okay? Next comes permeability. Permeability called mu. Permeability refers to the ability of the magnetic material that is easily magnetized. Is said to be have high permeability. That means which material has got good magnetic power, consumption or absorbing magnetic power is called good permeability material. Even that can be calculated by a formula called mu is equal to B by H. Word B, abbreviation B already we have learned. That is flux density. And Weber per meter square, that we know, and H is field intensity, which is ampere turn per meter. Okay. Next, method of magnetism. Now comes method of magnetization, not magnetism, magnetization. How we can produce artificial magnets? As you all know, in the beginning of the magnetic chapter, I told you there are two types of magnets. One is natural magnet, other one is artificial magnet. Now, today's world we are totally using artificial magnets. Now, artificial magnets are prepared by some procedure. See, about this very clearly, I am going to upload a video of YouTube. In that, all the methods have been clearly mentioned. That is why I didn't write much notes on that. See, you can see the video only, because they have given a very good explanation, so that all the methods is clearly explained there. But roughly I will tell you which all the method. First method is called touch method. What do you mean by touch method? There, the steel rod which has to be magnetized will be placed on the table, and by touch a permanent magnet will be rubbed over it. Exactly how it is rubbed over, the specifics will be there in the video. Rubbed over it, and after quite some time, this steel bar will be magnetized. The steel bar will be magnetized. It becomes permanent. Next, in that double touch method, two magnets will be wiped without lifting. In double touch method, there is a small difference between double touch and divide touch method. In divide touch method, it will be lifted after that. Here no lifting. Here pulling back, again bringing back. Pulling back, bringing. In the divide and touch method, it will be lifted, again brought back to the center, lifted, brought. So that's why I have written only, not lifted in double touch method, lifted in divide and touch method. Now that's a simple difference between two methods. Electromagnetism is, as I told you in the beginning, on the steel rod, a coil will be wound. This coil will be, the electric current will be passed in the coil. By the time, what happens? The steel rod will be fully magnetized because of the electric current which is passing around the coil. You should not touch that. Only without contact on the coil current will be passed in the coil. Because of that electromotive force which is inducing in the steel bar, the magnetic bar, steel rod will be magnetized. That is called electric magnetization. Next comes induction method. Now induction method means inducing the magnetism to a steel rod. Now inducing by a permanent magnet, inducing on the steel rod is called induction method. That also is there in the this thing. Read on. Next comes Faraday. Who is this Faraday? His name is Michael Faraday. Now who has invented current? Supposed to be, there is a story behind it. He was going to the school. He was very poor in studies. The school people sent a letter that don't send him to the school. And mummy didn't tell that. Mummy had put that letter in the car. This story I have told earlier also. She had put it in the box. She told that you are a brilliant boy. Your presence is not required in the school. It seems you have to study at home, it seems. He never questioned his mother whether it is true or not. So he believed his mother and he started playing with all these things. And finally, when he moved a permanent magnet over a copper circuit coil, the coil generated certain current and the bulb blew. So there he got an idea that when a permanent magnet is moved around the coil, inside the coil, in and out, there will be a current production in the coil. That itself, so that is why even today we are talking about him. That's called current is invented by Michael Faraday. In those days, he set two laws that I'll read. Any change in the magnetic field, any change, that means movement in the magnetic field of a coil, it will cause an EMF to be induced in the coil. Any change means not changing the coil. Any change, and the movement happens inside the coil. What happens? EMF will be produced in the coil. Next, Faraday's second law. In second law, what he states? It states that the magnitude of the EMF induced in the coil is equal to the rate of change of flux that linkages with the coil. Rate of change of flux. How the intensity directly proportional to the flux. Okay? Next, there are a lot of things you have to read. I am giving a point. Applications of Faraday's law. There are so many applications in today's life. What? Electric transformer. In transformer from Sharavati, it will come to one coil where it will be lesser wound. Number of turns will be less. In the other side, more turns coil will be there. From this lesser turn, more turn coil, the current will be induced. When now turns are more, that is called step up. More number of coils, lesser number of coils, it is step down. See, there are two types of transformer. One is step up, one is step down. So this is only possible by changing the number of coils. From the lesser coil, more coil, current will be increased. From the more coil to the lesser coil, current will be decreased. Now decreasing called step down, increasing called step up. Is it clear? Next. And there should not be any spark so that an electric accident takes place. Completely this will be immersed in oil. That is called transformer oil. Electric generators. See, generator, one part engine will be there, another part an alternator will be there. In the alternator, what is there? There will be rotor and yoke. when the rotor rotates, in the yoke current will be produced. That current through the wire comes out. So there also induction, again inducing current. Next, electric cookers, induction cooker, sorry. At home induction cooker is there. Mummy is using that. You may have seen that. So there will be a cooker inside which there is a copper coil which we can't see. But on the top you are keeping a vessel where the electric induced current can pass through it. That is called induction cookware. The vessel which you are keeping, if you keep a plastic cookware, it won't work because current will not pass through that. So that's why the cookware which you are keeping on the induction cooker, it should be a conductive material. Induction conductive material. So there when the current passes through it, you know that when the current passes through any cable, the cable gets heated up. If the current passes through the food gets, when the passes through the cookware, the food gets heated up. Common sense. That's called induction cooking. Next, electromagnetic flow meter. In flow meter what happens? Flowing tube is a conductor. The flowing material is a conductor. When it is flowing, it is changing the magnetic flux. Movement takes place. That is why the flow rate can be measured. Flow meter. Then musical instrument, in the guitar, in the violin, movement takes place. This movement will produce a current. That current in waves, it will go to the mic. You can hear the music. Very simple. Next, one more last part which you have to learn is Lenz's law. Now, the Lenz's law states that when an EMF is generated by a change in the magnetic field, according to the Faraday's law, the polarity of the induced EMF is such that it produces a current that's the magnetic field oppose the change which produces it. It is given there. So, if the coil strength is more, it will pass in the same direction of the thumb. If the coil is very less, then it will come back in the same direction. After in the sketchbook, in the book you see, that is very clearly illustrated through the sketch. You read out that, you will understand what is Lenz's law. Then comes force of the magnet. F can be calculated. By the pole strength, the pole strength is given and distance between the pole is given. Then you can use a formula called F is equal to M1 into M2 divided by D square. D square. Now D is the distance of the between the poles. M1 is pole strength. In A, M1 is on north, M2 is on the south, let it be. So that is why that is the pole strength. That calculation, simple calculation done on the book, you see that. And one sentence I have gave there, because there are a lot of users I have given in the textbook. You read out that, in that one is MRI. Today very famously, that word is very commonly we are hearing, but nobody knows what is it. Magnetic resonance imaging. Magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. Because through the magnetic power, inside the body, what is happening, they are taking an image through the electromagnetism force. Understand? That photocopy is called, that is image, by the magnetic resonance. That's why in short abbreviation it is called as MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. So thereby I am going to finish off this chapter called magnetic, which is mostly theoretic. In the textbook you see MCQ questions are there, but many terms has to be known to you. Like for example in solenoid, what is solenoid, what is reluctance, what is permeability, what is field intensity, how it is abbreviated, and Lenz's law, Faraday's law. Faraday has got written two laws, Faraday, one law 2, and the use of magnetic materials, electromagnets, where it is used. All these things only by reading. There is no shortcut. Unless you read the book, you cannot understand this. Now, notes part, if you write this much in the book, it's enough. Much more is not necessary. In the coming videos, I am going to next chapter called transmission of power. Thank you very much.